Hi everybody, this is Pax. I think this is my last video on DPS. Hopefully it is. And I wanted to kind of tie all this together and actually do some fighting. I think one of the first or second videos I was showing you to do some training for single target in the Rift on the Giants, and then in here area damage and single with those. When you fight here. And you're going to see that. I'm going to fight this Rift, like maybe even that one over there. We'll see. And you'll see, I'll talk through it as I fight it. I'll just do it myself and tie this together. So make sure you watch those other videos because it'll make more sense about my gear, my champion points, my skills, and how I fight. And I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll talk, and I wanted to tie it all together in this particular one and just do a fight and then look at the numbers. So let me go ahead and clear out all these other fights so I have none. And then I wanted to talk about managing the food and stuff and some of the glyphs. And then I'll get into the fight. So I'll squeeze that in here. So you want to keep right around 18k of health. And the reason that number is semi magical is because that's about where you're going to, when you get one shotted, and I don't want to get in this too much because it's supposed to be about DPS. So roughly when you get hit, it's going to go through your damage shields, it's going to go through your resistance. It'll be your, if it's magical, it'll go through this resist. If it's physical, go through this resistance, and it's going to go through all your champion reductions, and then it finally goes through your armor. I mean that's your physical. Then it goes through, then it finally gets to your health. So if you get hit 50k, you might be able to take it because you got enough stuff to do it, right? But if you don't, then it's going to kill you. You're going to get one-shotted, right? So pay attention to when you get one-shotted and look at the situation, look at the numbers, and say, man, you'll find out that hey, if I just had 18k, I would have been fine. I just barely died, right? And if you get hit with 250k, I don't care what you got, you're not going to live through that. You can't block it. You're not going to live. That's for the tank, not for you. Okay, so you just don't want to be a glass cannon, and you don't want to fall over. Okay, because you're not doing DPS if you're doing that. You look all great, doing a bunch of damage, but you don't look so great when you're dead 3 or 4 times before you get to the boss or the real hard content. So you want about 18k. So where would you get this? Well, you're going to get it through your drink, most likely. Not on my first video, I talked about don't put things in your health. Put it in the area. If you're stand based, load this with stand base. If you're magic play, put a ball in magic. If you're a tank, put them in your health. Okay. And then, but where you can tweak it is through the enchantments. So remember the chest, the legs, and the head. Those are the big um, points. So if you need you'll get a little more with health versus magic or stam. You'll probably get almost 1k. So if you need, certain much to get this up here, then put them in the enchantment in those areas. If you just need a little bit, then just put it in the smaller one, okay? Or 3/4, put it in two. Don't put it in the big one. So just use your and probably do it in the monster helm. Okay, it doesn't have to be, but you know. So, and the reason I say that is, let's say you put the health here and you swap out monster helms. Well, you're okay on all of them because you didn't swap out your chest piece. But if you did it here, then every one you would do, you would have to put the health enchantment. And then if something changes and you don't need it, then you got to change the enchantment on it. So just kind of be a little smarter about it. Now, in my case, they're all magical. and I don't have it here. And the reason is as high is because of my food. So if I come down to my food, this particular food that I use for me is this stuff right here. So if you look at it, I get almost 5,400 health for 2 hours, and I get some magic for those areas that I need. So that's all my food is going to do. And then my potion is the one I use is this Essence of Spell Power, this one in particular, because that's going to increase my damage for 47 seconds, which is a long time, by 20%. And then also immediately gives me Magicka, and I also get more Magicka regen. Okay, so that's the food. So now that I said that, let me just talk a little bit about my mechanics and how I'm going to fight. I talked about before on my front bar, I do single target, front bar, single target, back bar. I do area damage because it's like turning a switch. If I go into a room and I go, it's dark, I turn the switch on, it's light. If I leave, I want to shut it off, and I want it dark, I turn it off, and it's dark. I don't sit there and go, oh, I want to hit 1, 2, bar swap, 4, 5, 2, bar swap, 1, 1, bars. I don't do that. I do based on whatever the fight is. And you'll see that when I fight this rift, I'm not doing that. I'm just fighting. I'm fighting based on the fight. But I want to give you an idea how I'm going to fight before I get in it. So before I go in, there's a couple things I like to do. Number one, I'm going to hit number one. I'm going to be on bar number 2, and I'm going to hit number 1. And the reason is, I'll show you the skill. That's the Sigic line. And what I want is that critical damage increased by 10% for 36 seconds. And when I use that, the fight hasn't started, but it's running. Okay, so that's just a natural one. Another thing I would try to do is I will try to do a light attack on an enemy. And the reason I want to do that is on my bar, see my enchantment, it's going to increase my spell damage for 5 seconds. Now you think 5 seconds is not very long, and yeah, it is, but it isn't. But when I start doing area damage, if I'm dropping a shard, I'm throwing a bubble, and I'm starting to march like this, I'm doing a lot of damage in 5 seconds, and I'm going to get a lot more out of that spell damage that I just procced when I just shot it once. Okay, so those are all tied together. So when I go in there, I am going to, I'm already going to hit my number 1, and then I'm going to hit my shard right in the middle of I'm going to light attack, hit my shard right in the middle of them. I'm going to throw a bubble down the middle of them, and I might even put my defenses on, and I'm going to march around it and do some damage to the group and keep moving. Okay, and I also may do a little bit of that, and I'll swap. I'll do some stabbing because that's going to heal me and do damage. And what I want to do is I want to kill a bunch of them, and then I'll get down to the big guy, and I want to get him down to 50%. So sometimes I might interrupt him by weaving. I might be stabbing him, to heal myself. I maybe swap back, throw that down another bubble. I may, I want to try to I might do a little weaving to charge up my ultimate because I want to drop it on him. So we'll just see how that fight goes. So let's get into it. What do? I have to touch this thing? I have to activate it. So, alright, activate it. I'm going to shoot him. Throw down my... let's start fighting, okay? I guess I got help. He's not... Hope they don't die. Okay, now comes the big boy. Now you can see up the top, right now I'm pulling about 55k, right? I'm going down because I'm not doing squat. Sometimes I'll drink my drink even though I don't need it because remember there's that increased 20%. And he smacked me. Here they come again. Oh, 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 oh. There, see, I stabbed, almost died there. I might weave a little bit a couple times, interrupted him. Got my thing going. I'm going to Jesus beam this dude. Oh, dude. He's hammered me in like a nail. Okay, so now he's dead, right? Now, she's happy. I guess. So let's go over here and see if they follow me. I'll try it over here. I was trying to do that by myself. We'll look at the results of that here in a second. So I'm going to do this again. Activate. Shoot. Let me go. Okay. Area damage. Oh, better stab. Stay out of the stupid. Throw a bubble. Stab some more. I'm bleeding. I like to have my big ultimate to go, but I don't think I'm going to get it. Oh, there he is. I should have waited. Rolled out of that. Let's weave on him a little bit. Let's get some things going again. Bubble. Some more. Let's get a bubble going. I'm getting a little low on Magicka there. I better watch out there. That's the one thing with the Templar. If you run out of Magicka, you're dead. I mean, you're going down fast. You better get away. So I'm trying to get him down to 50%, under 50%, because I want to beam him. And I also want to have Magicka to do it. So I'm going to try to heavy attack a few times. And not have him beat me up. Okay, so I'm down there now. So let's just beam him. It's going to do a lot of damage to him. Give him a berth because he was trying to smack me. And I know I'm being a little lazy killing him, okay? Interesting about this fight is you see up at the top. Oops. Guess I should finish him. Up at the top it shows 25k, 93% of the damage. Well, here's my question. Where's the other? Who did the other percentage of the damage? There's nobody around. So it's not entirely accurate, right? Got me some food. So let's go take a look at this stuff. I'll stand here. Is anyone going to leave me alone so we can look at this? So let's look at this in the damage board. So here's the first one I did with the person helping me. And I got, let's say 34k for 57 seconds. There's my crit. You can see all the stuff here in the middle. I was getting 66% crit, not 90%. This range, all that looks fine. You can see where all the damage is. I was saying, where's the group? Where's the group? Let me look at the last one. Doesn't really show me the group. Maybe I'm just missing it. I expected a group, because the other person was fighting. Anyway, but that was the fight with the other person. And you can see if they have any other buffs on you. But anyway, so here's where if you look at these stats, those are pretty much the same between the two. There's a little bit of, maybe I got some buffs, so I'd have to look. Probably got something off the other person. Anyway. So anyway, I kind of, hopefully that helped a little bit how I did my stuff. You did not see me, sit there and go rotation this and that. I did it based on the fight, based on the circumstance, and I think that's a lot more important, especially when you're doing DLC content, because you get some crazy stuff, crazy situation, people you have to res, interrupt, save them from death. You got to save you from death. Maybe do some taunting if necessary. Tank is down. You got to get him away. So that someone can res him. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff that are going on, and you have to be able to keep your damage up. And that's another thing. Let's look at that graph. Let's see if that graph looks better than before. Okay, that's much better. So you can see, here. I mean, I was pulling a huge DPS way up here at the beginning, and then it tapered off down towards the end, at least on this fight. So you can see it's this is where the total, but you can see where my consistent. So whatever I was doing here, I could have done better, right? Now let's look at the other one. This one looks a lot better of more useful information. Look at the DPS is up here, and then it dropped at the end. Usually it spikes at the end because, you know what? That's because they changed that bloodthirsty ring. I used to have the huge spike at the end because it was the last 25%, but I guess you're getting this more steady damage because they changed that bloodthirsty, I guess. So you got to just look through these numbers and keep working with your stuff and kind of figure out, okay, look, but I didn't do light attack enough. Something wasn't running most of the time, or, I was doing this, I was doing more damage. I should have did more versus something else, etc. to get your damage up and tweak your skills or however you're playing the character. So anyway, I'm going to stop on this one. I think this is about all I'm going to do on DPS. I think this information can help you if you have a Magicka base versus stand base, because the stand base is going to be the same. You're just going to have to relate it to something that is melee versus ranged. If you're going to use the bows, but the same information can be used on your character. I think there's some differences that I didn't really cover when you don't really want to pursue critical damage. You just want to pursue just damage, getting your damage real high, or maybe you have some sort of bleed damage, or you have real high spell damage, maybe like on a Sork, or certain particular, maybe you get certain type of items that you want to enhance and how you want to fight, and so you're gonna alter that. Some of the things may not be as important, but I think you're always going to have damage, and penetration is always going to be important. Obviously, if your skill is based on a max magic or a max stamina, you're going to want to bolster that and whatever makes sense in that area to increase that damage. So anyway, I hope this helps. I think I'm going to call this done on DPS. If I think of something else that I didn't cover, because I haven't even looked at the other videos yet, I'm just going to look at them and upload them. If there's something else, then I'll add it. I'll add another video, but I don't think so. I think I'm done. If you have any questions and want another video, just shoot me a message. Otherwise, I'll see you in the virtual world. Bye.